Today we're going to do another trailer review.
Wow.
If you're not already seen our other previous trailer reviews, I have to put my drink down, I urge you to go and check out this card. Oh yes,
Oh.
You can't see but it's there.
It's up there in the trees.
Oh yes, now today the trailer we're going to do is another King Arthur movie, with this being King Arthur Excalibur Rising from 2017.
Upside down, mate.
Yes, it is upside down, I know that. So, let's just start. You've seen the trailer earlier, so what's first of all your Eggles overall impressions of it?
Not too bad at all. I mean, there's one or two howlers, but as a film, looked okay to me. It was a good action-packed film.
Yeah.
There are obviously one or two things that we've noticed, like the short back and sides haircuts.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about these individually, but yeah.
But overall, I think it's good. It's a good story. It does, Arthur, it's one of these old stories. Whether he existed or not, I don't know.
That's another video in itself.
Yeah. And we won't come to an agreement anyway, but as this film goes, I think it's a pretty good effort.
Now, I got a run through of the trailer, and I'll link the trailer in the description for you, and I'll also pin the trailer to a comment in the comment section. So if you want to go and watch the trailer before you listen to us talking about it, then please do go and do so, but please come back.
Yeah, come
Oh
back.
yes. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the film. Now, I think it's always great that they talk about historical figures and they bring these legends back to life to let people know, and I think that's awesome.
That's a very good point, because it only takes one generation to miss it, and it's a legend, or even if it is only a legend, it's worth remembering in the folk history. And yeah, I think that's a very, very good point you made there.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the points we always do make and stress in these reviews, that we do love the film companies and Studio in Hollywood for producing these films so that we can talk about them, but also to spread the word about these legends, because like Eggle just said, if we don't do this, then they will be lost to time.
Yeah.
And if it weren't for channels like us retelling these stories and keeping your folk tales and your oral history alive, it will be lost.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Hollywood, for making movies like this.
And that goes to all of you.
Please watch these videos and learn from what we can tell you about them and how to improve the quality of the films and make them much better and more profitable for you.
Yeah.
Oh yes. So, first of all, we see a scene of a castle by a lake. It looks good, doesn't it?
I think it might be Loch Ness. It's certainly one
could
of
be
those.
right.
But it's definitely Scotland.
That was one of the things I thought about. With my own context of knowledge, I thought to myself, well, where is this set? King Arthur meant to be in England, so this looks more like Scotland. But it was a very nice beginning scene of the movie. And the castle's authentic, so you can't go wrong with that. So that's the first scene you see.
Yeah, it's a positive and a negative at the same time.
Yes, I thought it was a good start to the movie. And then we see a castle in the mist, like a tower. What does this remind you of?
Disneyland.
Yes, Disney, the Disney castle.
It may be a real place.
No
for
doubt
it.
they've been watching Disney films, dropping my sword on the ground. That was terrible. And
Well, Disney got the idea of the castles along the Rhine that King Ludwig had built, which never finished, incidentally. But all the turrets with the roof.
yes,
They got that idea off the castles along the Rhine.
because the Disney family are from Staffordshire.
They are indeed quite well to do at one point, and I mean, okay, some of this stuff is dated, but I remember growing up with Disney films and thoroughly enjoying them. In fact, I still do.
No, I don't think they're dated. I mean, I think they really did set the trend, going off subject, talking about Disney. I think they did set the trend, really.
Yeah.
I do have a friend of mine who's called Marcus Disney, and I'm related to him.
All right.
So hello, Marcus. Anyway, so we see the castle. It reminds me of a Disney theme. It's a nice setting in the mist. And then the next thing you see these three riders approaching to the tower, and they're not wearing helmets. They may have slung shields. So it's kind of setting the scene that somebody's going somewhere.
Yeah, I couldn't see because the soundbar was across whether they were using stirrups or not.
I think they may have been using stirrups. It's the latest thing.
Because in the other Arthur film, he's got the proper Roman horns on the saddle.
Yeah, and that was really good.
Yeah, I
Was that the
enjoyed
2004 film?
Keira Knightley.
Yes,
yeah.
that was.
Yeah.
That's a cool and decent film,
Yeah.
and we reviewed that. You can see that in the card as well. There, the review of the King Arthur movie from 2000 film
Got 'em
with
all.
Ray Winston and Keira Knightley.
Yeah.
Woof woof, as Eggle might say. Anyway, so
Wow.
the next scene we see, or basically it's not a scene, but we see some writing. It talks about England 250 AD, which is slightly
I didn't see it.
early. I did show you.
Oh yeah, 250.
Slightly early, isn't it?
Yeah, they.
They should have chose 450, then that
Yeah.
would have been fine.
Well, the mail's okay,
Hmm.
but it's the power dressing Joan Collins style shoulder pads. It's like Dynasty for the medieval.
Yeah, well, we'll talk
period.
about that as we go
Yeah.
along to the next scene.
But yeah, they would have had mail, but 450. They're on the way out, so
Well, the Romans are
Yeah.
leaving them, or abandoned England by that time.
410 to about 480. So
It would,
they're on-
it would have took some time for them to leave, wouldn't
Oh
it?
yeah, I mean, you've also got people staying behind, and a lot of the troops on Hadrian's Wall, for instance, were German. So there was war going on in Saxony, so you get your relatives over because it's safer
Well, yeah.
for about
For a while.
years. Yeah.
So the next scene we see a fight scene. There's a bearded man, and he's fighting the dude, and he's hitting him with the pommel, which I thought was quite good.
Yeah.
And a lot of blood came out of the dude's mouth. I think it was too much blood, but I think they're just trying to be dramatic.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice to see somebody actually fighting with a pommel,
Yeah.
because it is a underused weapon. And
Well, it's as was said in another thing. The pommel was initially to balance.
this here,
Yeah, to balance the blade.
I've got a wobbly one.
Yeah, you want to whack it with a hammer.
Well, I backed it the other day.
And heat it up and whack it. And it could be used as a weapon in the field as well.
No, you just need to cold smack it, not heat it. Anyway, so that's another subject. So we see the fight scene. Then you see the scene of Arthur, and he's wearing some chainmail, and it looks quite shiny and kind of light in the movement, which to me kind of says aluminium
Yeah,
or
it
aluminum
probably is.
if you're American. Hello,
To
my
my
American
America.
friends.
Yeah, it probably was aluminum, because to be fair, if you're on set all day wearing 60 odd pounds worth of mail plus a padded jacket, you're going to be a bit tired. And these are Hollywood lovers, dear.
Oh yes. So
Uh,
yeah, so they could have wore some proper mail in
well,
my
let's
mind.
blacken it up a bit.
Yeah.
But hey, come on.
And then we see Uther, Arthur's father, of course, in this stage of the film, fighting with a sword, but he's got no shield again. Why do these movies insist that people fight with no
I
shield?
was thinking about that, and I think it's because it hides their face.
Well, to a degree, yes. I mean, if you're a famous actor, you want your face being seen, but personally, I would prefer a shield, not, for the health and safety aspect as well. But then again, they're not exactly fighting like we would do, would they? So,
Aluminium swords, probably.
yeah, well, they were an aluminium sword, and you could see him really flexing, which you don't really see in combat with the kind of sword we used to, or maybe your sword, but not my sword. You say your sword bends a bit, doesn't it?
And it doesn't bend, it flexes.
Flexes.
Say where you've got it there, the handle will stay there and the blade will flip around
Yeah,
90
well,
degrees.
that will break one day.
Yes, that will be the case.
So we now go on to something, a favourite subject of ours in these movies, and that's short and modern haircuts.
Oh,
Yeah,
Not
I mean,
my problem.
I've got a relatively modern haircut.
well, the problem is, it's not that they've got short hair, it's that they've got the short back and sides, like when you were going back to school and your mum made you
Yeah.
have a haircut. And it's they would be more like a pudding bowl shape, because the reason I had short hair was so the mail didn't catch in the hair. I speak to experience.
Oh yeah, I mean that can happen. But it would have been nice to see, the Merlin. He had a big long hair and a beard. And we'll talk about him as we go further on, I think.
Yeah.
So they got short modern haircuts. And these Romans, I think, will wear slightly longer armour because the chainmail Roman armour is more earlier, and then in the later 3rd and 4th century they went to more plate and segmata, didn't they?
Well,
So
second and third,
if they're meant to be Roman,
you have the Corbridge style, which is the lorica segmentata.
Yes.
Then later on, I mean, the Roman ground troops wore something like a pillbox on their head.
I mean, they could have been auxiliaries, because auxiliaries were all male.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, if you ever choose to be a Roman rear actor, I'd definitely urge you to be an auxiliary rather than be a legionnaire and have to wear the lorica, because it's blooming heavy.
And expensive.
Yes. So then we see Uther, and he's wearing the shoulder plate, which you've already mentioned. So do you want to go into that?
Joan Collins armour.
You know,
it looks impressive, and I think that's why it's done, but it's not historically accurate.
No.
But the argument that they would use, I'm assuming, would be, we're not trying to be historically accurate, we're trying to appeal to a mass audience.
Yes. And one thing I liked about them is that they're a little bit rusty, so they had age and they was worn, so I like that.
Yeah.
Whether that's genuine rust or whether that's pretend, trying to make it look older, I do salute them for that, and I thought that was great.
Well, that's when you've got really burnished steel, one drop of rain, you've got it rusty, it's just the way of it.
So the next thing we're going to talk about Merlin. And what do you think of your impressions of Merlin?
Well, like you said, it's Gandalf II.
It is really, yes.
And I think they could have styled him slightly different, because
Actually, they could have called him Merlin the White.
Merlin the Tartan.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean,
he looked good.
He looked good, but at the same time, as soon as you see him, you think Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Well, I think the difficulty here is whenever you have anybody with a white beard and white long hair, you're going to look like Gandalf. And I think it's because Lord of the Rings movies are so now, being seen by so many people and so entrenched with our memories.
Well, to be honest, I mean, if you've seen the '85 the Borman film, where Merlin wears like a metal skull cap and he's got, as far as it looks like, balls. And that's quite effective.
That is effective. That's a much more different Merlin, and that will be another film which we're going to review in the future.
Or even a headband around him might have changed
that's
things.
a little chat about Merlin. I mean, yeah, it did remind me of Gandalf, but at the same time it also kind of reminded me of a Merlin character. So overall I thought that was quite good. You know, you can see why they made him look like Gandalf, because, you know, it's going to be popular. So, and then you see Arthur, the young Arthur, and he's in a burgundy red tunic, which looks very, very clean to me. It was almost brand new, so I think a bit of dirt, you know, make him roll around in the dirt a little bit. I know he's an actor, he's paid lots of money, but you could have made it a bit more dirty for him.
If it's been fighting in the battle,
you know,
you don't stay clean.
You know, you're bound to get some canteen medals from your food.
Yeah.
You know. So you could have made it a bit more dirty and a bit more realistic. But that's always a problem with Hollywood. That, I mean, unless you like Game of Thrones, where they do go into the effort of making, you know, the outfits look worn, and that's fantastic. That's what it should be like. But then there's that. So, and then you see him wearing this odd-fitting bolt. You know, it's not too bad. I quite like the mountings, the fittings he's got on the bolt.
Well, again, it's you're using what they've got.
Yeah.
I mean, Christian Zimmerman's quite legitimate. I mean, been around a long time. I mean, Rome adopted the Theodosian Code in 390, and this is 450.
Yeah.
It was the religion. Christianity was the religion of the empire. So yeah, you know, you're bound to have crosses on them.
At this point, the character Arthur's got more longer hair and looking unshaven, so I thought that was good. That was a good look for him.
Well, you see, in the last 50 years, we're used to seeing clean-shaven faces. And if you look at the old Gillette packets, there's a picture of Mr. Gillette, and it says responsible for the most shaven faces. You look at Victorian people, there's people who look like they swallowed a beaver and the tail's hanging out.
Oh yes, I mean, as my father would say, Magnar, a man unshaven is a man unkept, but that's just that's a sole generation thing, isn't it though?
But I mean, you imagine all you've got for a razor is a sharp knife, and you've got to get it really sharp.
The next thing we see is this enemy dude, and he's wearing this brown cloak, but he's got some kind of massive belt buckle around his neck holding the cloak together.
That was a mystery because you find yourself looking at the buckle thinking, now where does that go?
Yeah.
Does it hold his cloak on?
It could be a modern belt buckle, that, really.
Well, even so, you don't want stuff
No.
around your throat.
It would, in a fight, that could choke you and enable you to fight. So I think a smaller, more selective buckle
Yeah.
or brooch holding them together would have been better, in my mind.
Yeah.
But overall, he looked good.
Yeah.
He looked, you can tell the difference between the two of them. Who was a good guy, who was a bad guy, and he did look like a bad guy. So that's quite good. So I enjoyed that. So then you got the village scene. We got it looks good with the setting of the villages.
Yeah.
But perhaps you want to talk about this and something you saw which I didn't see.
Yeah. If you look at the roofs, they've got Hessian over the top to hide the snow, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
But they didn't cover it completely, and when you see it, it stands out. The buildings themselves, to my view, look 18th century crofters' cottages.
You do a little bit, yes.
Where it is, I don't know, but it reminded me a bit of St Fagans in Wales.
It didn't have that look of a Roman village, did it?
No, they would have probably had roundhouses anyway.
Well, the
Yeah.
locals, the Britons, would have
Yeah,
done.
well, the Romans, they didn't all live in villas.
Well, someone could afford to.
Well, they lived in apartments, if anything, in Rome. But those nice, neat, whitewashed little cottages.
Yeah. Then the next scene we see Arthur sitting with a lady, and you can see his sword, and the sword is clearly a much later sword. The pommel is like 14th, 15th century. Very
Yeah.
fancy, but just too late again.
I suspect it was made in Spain by the look of it, which is a good quality steel. But the pommel is round.
Yes.
I mean, the sword itself is way in advance of Arthur's period. You said at the time no fuller. Well,
No.
they went out.
If you know what a fuller is on the sword,
It's
that's
the
the
channel.
channel. It had none of them, so that was a much later sword. Then they stopped using fullers because sword design changed
Well,
throughout
they
time.
also made them differently as well. But it's a sword that's more suited to the Wars of the Roses.
And then in the next scene, you see him in the wood, and he makes a stance and like into a fight. Now, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah.
I very clearly saw this, and in my mind, I knew what it was,
Yeah.
but I couldn't, confirm it.
Two things. One, it looks more dramatic, and that's what I
Yes.
suspect it's coming. Two, if you see the film The Kingdom of Heaven,
Yes.
Liam Neeson is showing the new guy how to fight, and it's the high port, and that's what I think they're trying to get, but it didn't come off right.
No, it
so,
was more to me of a samurai
Yeah.
side
Yeah,
stance.
it's just, I think it's probably done for dramatic reasons, but
And then you see two men dragging off, but again, the mail doesn't look right. It's too flimsy,
Yeah.
it's too light, and it's aluminium. So,
Yeah.
Hollywood can certainly afford to put proper steel, mild steel mail on people and buy it in. So why can't you do that,
you can
please?
get the steel mail from India.
These guys are big guys. They can take wearing some mail armour for a few hours.
Well, you can get it from India.
Yeah, very cheaply. Then we see the Merlin fight scene, which is not a bad fight scene. He's attacking a dude, I think, with a staff
Yeah.
or his magical wand, or whatever you call it, stick. So that was good. And then we see the guy spitting a lot of blood, and you can tell it was fake blood, but there was a lot of blood coming out his mouth.
Yeah,
It's just,
well,
again, to be dramatic, isn't it?
it is, yeah. But hey,
And then we see Merlin and Arthur outside of a house. It's a nice thatched roof in the wood. It's like Merlin's cottage. It's a nice setting. I quite enjoyed that little scene. They put some thought into it, staging it, so that's always good, isn't it?
well, at least they didn't put a sign out saying "done spelling."
Yeah. Then you see three men in a house wearing mail, but they're not wearing a gambeson or a leather jerky, which would have been practiced.
Yeah, because first blow on a male shirt, and you got no padding, it goes straight into your body.
Yeah. So
But
they
not
could have
very
just
nice.
put some jerkins on the geezers. Probably a word you're not used to, that geezer. Alright, geezer. Anyway,
It's a chap.
yeah. Then we see Arthur in the wood, and he has two hands on a single-handed sword. Would that have been practiced? I mean, I can't really get two hands on this one,
No,
really. I mean,
there are several.
it's
See,
not
that's
something you would have done.
What you've got there is a single-handed
Yeah.
sword. Then you had what's called a hand and a half, which is
Slightly longer.
And that's what I think you probably
Yeah.
got. Two-handed swords, they were very big and very, well, they're not actually very heavy. I held a genuine Lanchanex sword, which is as tall as Bragi here, and you can hold it with one hand quite easily.
Oh, that's very tall, that, and I'm quite tall.
Yeah.
So, and then you look at the folk and the people, and they're too clean again. Why can't we have a little bit of murk, a little bit of dust and muck on their faces, make them look a bit more dirty?
Well, they lived in an environment that, the reason we talk about blue bloods, I think I've said this before, is that the kings and aristocracy could wash, and you saw the blue veins, and they thought they had blue blood.
Oh yes.
And the others were covered in muck, so you didn't see it. And that's, but like you say, if you're fighting a battle, you are not going to be clean.
No. If you're out campaigning and you're on a march, you're not going to be clean. You know.
Even short combats.
Even if you have a wash in the morning in a stream, you're going to get mucky throughout the day.
Well, even the short combats that we do, you get hot and sweaty because it's the nature of the beast. You put in a lot of effort. You see these sword fights, you know yourself, after a minute or 2 minutes, you're wanting it to finish.
Well, yes,
Yeah,
some days.
The 10-minute Errol Flynn thing, forget it.
Well, yes. So then, just overall, the lack of helmets and lack of shield in the movie. I think they could have done some more shields and helmets.
I think they did it because you can't. They want the people to see the faces.
Yeah, well, let's have some realism. Then you got the fight scene in the castle, and Arthur's wearing a later shield, or one of them is.
That's 12th century, 13th century
Yes.
shield. It is a mistake people
So
make.
again, it's a contradiction between setting it in 250 AD when you're using 12th to 15th century kit in some of the scenes.
Well, if you notice, they had round shields in the village.
They did have round shields
but
in the village.
never extended to the fight, apparently.
So then that's it really. The dude was fighting with a double-handed sword in that fight scene. Again, we talked about that. So overall, yeah, I enjoyed the trailer.
Yeah.
I have seen some of the movie. It's not bad. It's watchable. It's one of those movies which you
It's
can.
another Christmas film.
Yeah, it is a Christmas film, but I think it's a film you could sit down and you could watch it from beginning to end and not get too bored, which is always good.
Well, once you've had your Christmas pudding, you've got your can of beer.
I mean, how much would you give? Out of 10, what would you give the trailer?
7 to 7.5.
Yeah, I'll probably give it slightly less than that. I'll probably give it a 6.5 to 7 because I think we rated the King Arthur 2004 movie about a 7 to 7.5. I don't think it was as good as that one.
No.
So
no.
it's probably about a 6.5 to me
Yeah.
out of 10.
But anyway, as I say, just watch the film and enjoy it.
Yeah, so don't forget to like the video, and if you have any more suggestions for trailer reviews or film reviews, please leave them in the comments. We've already got a nice long list of ideas for this type of subject we can do, content. So we're going to keep filming it, and perhaps over winter time when we're indoors we can film and watch some of the other episodes like Robin Hood series or the Vikings series, episode by episode.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for watching.
Okay.
Just get ready for the thumbnail, pose at the end. Hello and goodbye, wassail.
Goodbye.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah.